welcome to another episode of Memkoh Speaks. Today we'll be talking on the topic raising boys. The way we raise girls and boys differs so much, and in a previous video we visited the way we raise girls. Now in this video, as I promised, we're going to visit the way we raise boys. Now the male child is different from the female child by anatomy, physiology, even strength, sometimes interest. They are very different, and as such, I believe that different modes of upbringing should be applied to them. However, what applies in most homes is that the girl is given full attention because she needs to be molded to be more womanly or prepared for marriage or whatever the reason why parents focus on girl children is. But then the boys are just left to run around, play games at home. When the sisters are washing dishes, the boys are playing games. And the mother hardly ever calls the boys to come into the kitchen with her. There are so many issues that I have identified with the way we raise boys, and we need to do better. Just like we said that we need to do better by the girl child. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is accountability. There's a lack of accountability when we raise boys. We do not raise them to think that they are accountable for their actions. We do not raise them to think that there are consequences of their actions. More often than not, boys are raised thinking that the world rests on their shoulders or that they carry the world on their shoulders. They feel entitled to opportunities, to people. They feel entitled to so many things. And this sense of entitlement, I've realized, makes boys not to be held accountable for their actions when they become grown men. And so, once you realize that you're having a boy child, as a parent, I believe that you need to set out ways that you're going to make him accountable for his actions. If you did not do this today, this is what's going to happen. If you didn't do this today, this is what is going to happen. You have to teach him to know that as much as the world says it's a man's world, it's really not an excuse not to be held accountable for your actions. You need to let him know that now, more than ever, men are being held accountable for their actions. So if 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, men were getting away with so many things, that's not happening today. Everyone, man or woman, is being held accountable for his or her actions today. The world today is changing rapidly. And so this is why I'm discussing this, so that parents of children, parents of boys that are coming in the future generation could be prepared. You can't say no one prepared you. The world is changing, and things are getting tough, and people are getting angry, and people are awake. And so you do not want to raise a child that lives in oblivion. You do not want to raise a child, a boy child, since that's what we're talking about today. You don't want a boy that lives in oblivion or still thinks that he can go around doing anything and face no consequences. No. And as a parent, you know that most bad behavior of your children will point back at you. Accountability. Find a way to inject it into menial things at home. Find a way to inject the lesson of accountability into little things at home. As you're teaching your child, as you're raising your son, let him see the importance of accountability. Even you as a parent, do things and hold yourself accountable for your actions. And by watching you, your son will learn that. You know, if you're a man, don't disrespect your wife and don't do it right in front of your son, because then he's going to pick those things up. And that is how the cycle goes on and on and on. So please, parents, teach your sons accountability. Hold them accountable for their actions. They go to school, they beat someone. Don't come home and praise the child. Tell him, do you know what he did was wrong? Now, what did the person do to you, or what did you do to the person? Okay, this is how you would have approached it, and this is how you need to approach it next time. Tell him that there are consequences of that action. Do you know you could go to jail? Let that child know that as much as he thinks that he might have a better place in the world. Again, that is changing. But as much as the outside world might make him try to believe that he's on top, let him know that he, not anyone else, will be held accountable for his actions, whether good or bad. Another thing I see wrong with the way we raise our boys is the lack of emotional intelligence. Men have very little emotional intelligence compared to women because from a young age, a girl is taught how to be emotionally intelligent. A girl is thrown into scenarios that require her to show her emotional intelligence, that require her to build up her emotional intelligence. But for boys, because even at home, no one really expects much of them, but they are told that they sit on top of the world, that's why they don't really grow up to have that emotional intelligence. It's funny because tonight I was on Instagram and I saw a meme from a guy that said, "Women, please don't cheat. Women can't handle it." And I was like, oh, finally, you guys, you see that action, right? That action you guys were doing for years that women were complaining about, now you finally see it hurts because women are doing it back. I mean, women have always been, cheating, but I feel like now women are just so fed up that people are taking matters into their hands and doing whatever they feel like they need to do. Not that it's right, but what that showed me also proves what we're talking about right now, that men lack emotional intelligence. A lot of times, boys are not able to really tell apart their actions from what is expected of them. They just act. Okay, this happens to me. I'm a boy, I'm a man, I can act however I want to act. But emotional intelligence requires that you expect more of yourself in every circumstance. Even when someone doesn't expect much from you, you, as an emotionally intelligent person, need to expect much more from yourself at every point in time. And so we need to raise our boys in ways that they can be emotionally intelligent men. Because this is also important for relationships. When a man is not emotionally intelligent, he tends to make a lot of mistakes. He tends to treat women anyhow when he gets into relationships. He tends to lash out for every little reason at every given opportunity. And that shows a lack of emotional intelligence. Someone that is emotionally intelligent will confront his past. Yes, so and so may have happened to you when you were a child, but as someone who is emotionally intelligent, you choose not to be a victim of your past. It's hard, yes, but you can choose because there is no one in this world walking around that has not suffered one thing or the other from childhood. But as an emotionally intelligent person, you choose not to project those things that you went through. You choose not to project those things on someone else. So, we need to raise our boys to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to decipher right from wrong. For a relationship, a boy needs to be emotionally intelligent so that he knows, what is this girl's deal? What is she about? What does she want from me? And what can I give to her? When you're not emotionally intelligent, when someone says, you go. When someone says, you jump. But as an emotionally intelligent boy who is going to grow into a man, at every point in time, you know who you are. Before you meet a woman, you ask yourself, am I ready for this relationship? Do I have something to give? What do I have to give? Now, if I'm not ready, as an emotionally intelligent person, what do? I tell the other person, hey, I would love to, but I'm not ready. Can we step back? That is emotional intelligence. Not trying to play on the other person's intelligence or try to manipulate the other person. And so we really need to do a better job of raising our boys not to be oblivious of their position as men in the society. Because you're a man, Because you're going to grow up into be a man does not give you the leeway to mess up or act up or do certain things stupidly. Like we said earlier, you will be accountable for your own actions. And so it is very important that we raise men that are emotionally intelligent. Another problem I've realized with the way we raise boys is marital expectations. While a girl is raised from a very young age to be prepared for marriage, the same is not done for boys. In fact, boys are not even bothered about marriage. That is why when you see grown men in society today, you see them acting like a woman showing them affection is a burden. You see them acting like a woman desiring to be loved or desiring to get married is a problem. This is because from a very young age, a girl gets that marriage lesson drummed into her subconsciousness. It is sung like a song. You will get married, you will get married. Learn how to do this so that you can get married. But for a boy, that expectation is not even set. I'm not even telling him, oh, do A so that you can get married. It's not even that. Neither is it even, oh, one day you're going to get married. Nothing. It's almost like there is no mention of family, or of relationships, or of him getting married. And it's really sad because that is why you see men chasing their dreams, which is not a bad thing. It's a pretty good thing to see how men can work hard and climb the ladder in society, but it's often to their detriment. And it's usually because they've been told that, even if you want to get a family, even if you want to get married, you must first have a car, have a house, have a good paying job, be in a very top position before any woman will look at you. From a young age, they are not even groomed to think about wanting a family. And then by the time that is mentioned to them, they are already on the selfish path of fulfilling their career. And when I say selfish, I'm not necessarily saying it in a bad way, but when you are at that point where you just want to do this thing for yourself, you want to do, get it done, and then anything else can come after. And at that point, women usually seem like a distraction to these men. And, they toil hard, they work, and then when they have gray hairs, they want to look for who they can get married to. This is really sad, and it's bad because men are not taught from a young age how to have healthy relationships, how to seek out healthy relationships, and how to maintain them. Because a lot of times you'll see a guy, he would find a woman that's good, but he has not even been taught how to recognize that she's good to him. Because a lot of times, boys are raised by the streets, by friends, by magazines, by the media. Parents don't really talk to their boy child. They don't really sit them down and teach them anything. So, by the time this boy gets his conditioning from the society, nobody has talked to his heart. Nobody has talked to his desire of wanting a family, of wanting a good relationship, of knowing when he has a good relationship and holding on to it. Because the society and media is raising this boy, nobody has told him that, don't believe that thing that people tell you, there are so many women in the world. You always find one. Yes, you can always find a woman, but you cannot always find the woman for you. Nobody's telling our boy child that. He's being told when you grow up, there are so many women you can pick and choose. And that's why a lot of men cheat. That is why they get into relationships, leave the person that was good for them, do whatever they want to do, and then by the time their mother or someone tells them, you need to get married, they just walk out and pick whatever they see outside. Whether that woman is good for him or not. I'm not saying whether the woman is good or bad. No, I'm saying whether the woman is good for him or not, nobody's asking him to check those things. And if he traces his life story back a little bit, we'll often realize that there was a woman that cared so deeply about him, and he cared for her a lot as well. But then he let her go. Why? Because they told him, you can always find another woman. And so we need to begin to raise our boys to have a better outlook on marriage. We need to raise our boys to have better expectations, healthier expectations for relationships and marriage. We actually do need to groom our boys for marriage the way we groom our girls for marriage. Because who do we want to marry our girls? The boys. But then if the boys are slacking, guess what? Our girls are going to be crying, like it's happening right now, like it's been happening in the world ever since. Why hasn't anyone realized that all we need to do is to step up the way we raise boys? Let him know the characteristics of a woman that will be good for him. But first of all, let him know himself and what he can bring to a good relationship or to a marriage. And then let him know that by knowing himself, he then needs to find someone that can complement him. It's not that you're an empty vessel and then you want someone that's going to fill you up. No. Or you're an empty vessel and you're looking down at everyone else. No. We need to teach our boys to bring as much to the table as they demand. That is how we can begin to set healthy expectations for marriage for boys who are going to become men. Another thing that we need to touch on and improve on in the way we raise boys is setting boundaries with women. When a woman is approached, teach your boy that there are body languages. When a woman is approached by a man, her body says everything you need to know. Her body tells you whether she's welcoming you or whether she's turning you down. We need to teach our boys to be able to decipher that. Don't go pushing where you're not wanted. If she says no, back down respectfully. Now, we've heard of men that back down but then insult the woman. No. You need to teach your boy that there are boundaries even when dealing with women, even when dealing with girls. It starts from a young age when they are playing with their little girls. You do not disrespect a woman simply because she turns you down. Another thing I've realized, which goes back to the point of emotional intelligence, is that a lot of times men do not know how to deal with rejection. This is because right from when they were boys, nobody taught them that a woman could reject you. And so this points back to emotional intelligence, because an emotionally intelligent person will know to back down where someone doesn't want you. And so we need to teach our boys that there are boundaries when you're dealing with women, when you're dealing with girls. If she says no, you don't do it. And this is not even high level. Just start from when they are playing, like during playtime. If you push her and she says stop, tell your child stop. If he's playing with his friends and they are being unruly and someone gets hurt or someone complains, tell your child that you stop. That is how they learn those things. It's when they don't stop, when they keep doing it, when they keep hurting people, when they keep pushing that girl. Tomorrow he turns into a bully. The next day he turns into a rapist. The next day he's in prison. Teach him these things. Teach him that there are boundaries. When a woman says no, it means no. You don't force yourself on her sexually. You don't force her to give you her number because she doesn't want to talk to you. You don't spew demeaning words at her just because she rejected your advance. We need to teach our boys emotional intelligence and also to be able to handle rejection better. You are going to be rejected. Tell that to your boy over and over again. Women are going to reject you. Girls are going to reject you. Accept it and move on. There is someone out there for you. And this means that you don't have to force yourself on anybody. These are the things that parents ought to be teaching their boys. not just letting them play game. Now, when it comes to education and career, they do a pretty good job with that because, the girl child is sweeping, cleaning, doing all these things in the home while the boy is playing games so he can do his homework and do things in school and excel and all of that. In that regard, boys are fine. But when it comes to manners and regular humanly attributes that you need to have, soft skills, that is where we're lacking in raising our boys. Another problem I've realized with raising boys is that thing of be a man, man up. Don't do it. Don't crush his self-confidence before he even grows up to be a man. Allow your child to be vulnerable. If a little boy falls down and he starts crying, don't cry, be a man, be a man. In a way, I can understand because even women wouldn't want a man that cries every second. So I can understand the attempt to make him dampen his emotions. But there's a detrimental side to that. Find a way to balance it. Don't shout be a man to him every day. If your child needs an embrace, if your son needs an embrace, give it to him. Love him. Show him affection. Show him that he's loved. Don't tell him toughen up every time. Because that's why we have men that are walking around with so many issues and they don't even know where to start from. They don't even know the source of their issues. They had no one to lean on, no one to cry on. And even when a good person comes along their way that they can cry on, that they can lean on, they don't. They don't know how to open up. They were never taught to open up. Because someone was always telling them, be a man. Men don't do this. Real men do. Please. Even women today, please. Let us stop saying real men. Don't do it. The same way we would not like it if men started saying real women. So please, women, don't say real men. Just men do XYZ. Don't say real men. Let us stop putting all these pressures on ourselves and unrealistic expectations. We have so much learning and unlearning to do. So back to the boy child. Let your boy be vulnerable. Let him be able to come to you with problems. Something happened in school. Come and talk to me. Talk to your dad. Talk to your aunt. Talk to someone. But of course, you need to be careful, in who you let your child open up to. You need to teach them that. And that is also part of emotional intelligence, knowing who to open up to. But it's important to at least teach your child how to open up to someone. A lot of times, boys get their socialization from friends. Something is going wrong. They can't even talk to someone that is close to them, someone in their family, their mom. They go to their friends. And that is where he learns all these bad behaviors from. And so we need to keep an eye on our boy child as much as we do on our girl child. At the end of the day, a parent's hope is that his or her daughter finds someone that can take care of her and, that she can do life with. But what happens when the person that your daughter is doing life with is broken? That is the problem with society today. That is what we're facing. Girls that have been raised well or pretty well, and boys that have been raised not so well. And so when you try to match them up, they don't match. He becomes her problem. There's no reason why we do not hold our boys to the same standard as we hold our girls. We try to raise girls that are amazing. She has to be spotless. But then we raise boys that are subpar. Who is going to eventually raise that boy to a level that he's amazing? So far, it's been the women. It's been married women raising their grown husbands. It shouldn't be that way. The only person that a grown woman is meant to raise is her son or her daughter. A grown woman should not be raising an equally grown man. But because we failed as parents, that boy grows to a man that becomes a woman's headache or several women's headache, as we see it today. You've seen, heard of, or experienced, what I'm talking about right now. And so please, 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 parents, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father, whether you are doing this parenting thing with someone or you're doing it alone, you owe it to society to raise a boy that is emotionally intelligent, respects women, knows that he can have healthy relationships with women in a way that's not necessarily sexual or romantic. He could have good friendships with women. Raise him to treat other people with respect. Because, see, what I tell people is that when you meet a man, don't just be like, oh, he buys me flowers, oh, he does this for me, oh, he does that. No. How does he treat other people? That is what you need to watch out for. And so we need to raise boys that can grow into responsible men, that are amazing, that are as spotless as we try to make our girl child. And so with this, I'm going to draw this to an end. But first, as I promised in the last video, I'm going to rate how we're doing with the boy child. So I gave us a 3.5 out of 5 with the way we raise girls. The way we raise boys calls for a 2 out of 5. And that's even being kind. We need to make amazing men the norm. I really enjoyed talking with you today on the way we raise boys. Please feel free to leave a comment and let us know how you think we're doing with raising boys versus how we're doing with raising girls. Thank you and talk again soon. Bye-bye.